Right now, though, oil prices, they've fallen again this past week to well below $50 a barrel, the lowest point since April of 2009. Of course, it's good for consumers. Petrol prices are going down, but not for the producers. And that includes the United States, where the future of thousands of ad hoc, small-time oil wells is under threat too. Tom Ackerman tells us about that from Pennsylvania.
Outside the McDonald's restaurant in Bradford, Pennsylvania, stands a century-old relic of the oil industry's dawn. In an area where the world's first industrial well was drilled in 1859, this one is still pumping, and so are hundreds more scattered around the town. These so-called stripper wells can draw up to a couple of barrels a day from the huge pool of crude that lies beneath the surface.
And it'll probably do this for, it's been doing it since 1882. It'll probably go another 100 years if we're allowed to do it. You know, we don't get regulated out of business.
Looking at them individually, these wells don't seem very impressive, but there are more than 400,000 of them operating in the U.S., and they account for 11% of U.S. total oil production. In 2012, by comparison, these marginal wells matched all of OPEC member state Qatar's output. The latest innovations in horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing could extend the working life of these wells, but as the price of crude has fallen by almost half in the past year, many operators are shutting down. They say the profit is no longer there and complain that burdensome government rules threaten their long-term survival.
At least at $100 oil, there was some possibility of compliance, with the regulations. But, losing almost 50% of the price of your product over a 3-month period, it's just stifling, suffocate.
The steep price decline has also forced big companies with expensive fracking costs to curtail their expansion plans. Permit applications for new drilling in the U.S. dropped by almost 40% in just the month of November. Bill Klein, who spent 70 years in the oil drilling business, says he doesn't know how much longer his town can stay active in the industry that first put it on the map.
It's not ever going to be like it was, but we're keeping a refinery running, and that's keeping Bradford. If that refinery doesn't have enough oil to run, God bless Bradford, because there won't be anything left.
But if the price of crude doesn't start recovering soon, no amount of oil that's still left to pump here will be enough.
Oil's pretty important to a country like Venezuela too, and a deepening recession there, along with soaring inflation, is taking its toll. Not just in the numbers, something as simple and fundamental as the public transport system is a perfect example. From Caracas, Monica Villamizar looks at that.
These men look like they know what they're doing, but they tell us they are bus drivers trying to fix their vehicle, because if they don't, no one else will. Not only is there a shortage of spare auto parts and motor oil, there are also not enough car mechanics. It's a do-it-yourself new reality, as they hammer away at a transmission box, while others examine the foreign-made engines. Dollars are regulated by the government in Venezuela. And with a shortage of cash, importers can't buy spare parts manufactured abroad. Plus, there's a 60% inflation, one of the highest in the world.
You need dollars to purchase the replacement parts, and that's a problem because of inflation.
It's a bitter irony, some say. President Nicolás Maduro was a bus driver for a decade back in the 90s. In times of economic recession, they thought he would help immediately.
People said he was a driver like us, but it seems he forgot about his roots because he's done nothing for us workers.
Public buses are aging rapidly, partly because of bad road infrastructure. Passengers say tickets are not expensive. In fact, they're government-controlled. But the state of some vehicles is appalling.
The newspapers say there are no spare parts. It's not just vehicles. My washing machine broke down and I can't even repair it.
It's very hard to find official statistics in Venezuela for many things. But some people here are telling us that at least 20 or 30% of the buses in Caracas are currently not working because they don't have spare parts. If imports do not resume, he says, the whole system would collapse. The vehicle's body may be made in Venezuela, but everything that makes it work comes from abroad.